जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंसकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी शीला प्रभुपाद की, इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य शीला प्रभुपाद की, नम आचार्य शीला हरिदास ठाकुर की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद भागवतम की. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Krishna. Hare Krishna. So welcome to this morning Bhagavatam class. Today we are reciting the verse from Canto 3, Chapter 26, the fundamental principles of material nature, and the text 50. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 50. Etani asamhatya yada mahad adini saptavai kala karma guna peto jagad adir upavisat. Etani asamhatya yada Maha Adini Saptavai Kala Karma Gunopeto Jagad Adir Upavishat. Etani asamhatya yada Mahad Adini Saptavai Kala karma gunopeto Jagad adir upavishat. Prabhuji. Etani asamhatya yada Mahad adini saptavai Jagad adir upasita. Etani asamhatya yada Mahad adini saptavai Kala karma gunopeto Jagad adir upavishat. Etani asamhatya yada Mahad adini saptavai Kala karma gunopeto Jagad adir upavishat. Okay, word to word meaning. Etani, these, asamhatya, being unmixed, yadha, when, mahad adini, the mahatattva, false ego and five gross elements, sapta, all together, seven, why, in fact, kala, time, karma, work, guna, and the three modes of material nature, upeta, accompanied by, jagat adi, the origin of creation, upavishat, entered. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation, please repeat with me. When all these elements were unmixed, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the origin of creation, along with time, work and the qualities of the work and qualities of the modes of material nature entered into the universe with the total material energy in 7 divisions. So, purport. After seeing the generation of the causes, the Kapila Deva speaks about the generation of the effects. At the time when the causes were unmixed, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his feature of Garbhodakashai Vishnu, entered within each universe. Accompanying him were all of 7 primary elements, the 5 material elements, the total energy Mahatattva and false ego. This entrance of Supreme Personality of Godhead involves his entering even the atoms of the material world. This is confirmed in Brahma Samhita, Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantaratstaham. He is not only within the universe, but within the atoms also. He is within the heart of every living entity. Garbhodakashai Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of God, entered into everything. Let's do Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitam Sya E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha krupa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are continuing the chapter 3 from chapter 26 from Canto 3. So the title is The Fundamental Principles of Material Nature. So if you see the first word, etani, so these, asamhacha, being unmixed. So these, etani means these, which are these? All the things which Kapila Muni has explained in the previous chapters. Like various material elements, how the material elements were created, how the pradhana was created, how the Mahatattva is created, and from there various material elements, various sense objects, senses, all these things being created, how those things being created, Kapila Muni explained. So these elements, that's what etani, all these elements. So with all these elements, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is entering into the each universe. So far, it was in the Mahatattva, in the cosmic manifestation, all the ingredients were created, and now Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Garbhodakashai Vishnu, is entering into the each universe along with all these elements. They have classified as 7 elements that we will discuss. Broadly, there are various things we discussed in last few chapters, few verses from past few days. Right? All these elements categorized into 7 things, and now Supreme Personality of Godhead is entering into the universe. Each universe. This is the one. This aspect we are looking at the one universe, but he does it for every universe. So like the Mahavishnu, when inhale, exhaling, all the universes coming out, right? For each of the universe, this activity is applicable. We don't need to see only just for one universe. This activity is same across all the universes coming from the Mahavishnu. So we will see in detail how what all the things happening after entering into that. Now we see that chapter name is Fundamental Principles of Material Nature, right? In the day-to-day material world, we hear this word fundamentals very, very regularly, frequently. That if you take any subject, like take any mathematics or any science subjects, what you will hear these things. Fundamentals should be like if you have to progress higher, if you have to read very advanced topics in the specific subjects like math, English, or any other science subjects, in fact, any subject, material subject, you need to have a strong fundamentals, right? The basic understanding of the fundamentals you should have, right? For example, you take mathematics. The basic fundamental things are like the numbers, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. These are the various key basic elements of the mathematics. Entire mathematics is built on these building blocks, the fundamentals, right? So if you suppose in the primary school stage, you learn all these things. And when you go to the next little bit at a higher level, year 5 or year 6 maybe, then you will understand, apply these principles like the basic addition, subtraction. You may be saying some algebraic equations like a plus b whole square formula, a minus b whole square, or a plus b into a minus b, like various formulas you will, again based on this basic understanding of the fundamental principles, right? So then when you go further higher, you see the trigonometry, or you do the calculus, or when you see advanced subjects, you will be using, whenever you take reading the higher, going higher and higher, reading advanced topics, all these fundamentals being used. If you are very good in the understanding the fundamentals, you will be very good in that subject, right? Take any, not only math, in science also, if you see chemistry, there are various elements are there in the chemistry, right? Each element, you see what is the physical nature, what is the chemical nature, and when you understand all those things, in future, when you do the experiments with these elements, you know, okay, this is why this element is reacting like this. You will understand. So, in any stage, the understanding the fundamentals is very important. Then that will help you to understand the advanced subjects in easy manner. That will make your life easily. That's why people will say, okay, he's fundamentally very strong. That's why he's doing very great job. Like that, right? So the understanding the fundamentals is very important and very essential. Like, if you say like you are constructing a house, like when you you make a nice floor, you make nice walls, you make a nice ceiling, and so many other things you nicely decorate, you make the house. But what are the key ingredients? Like you need sand, you need a concrete, you need water, you need iron. See, these are some of the basic key elements through which you will make all the nice things. Underlying the basic fundamentals are, these are the basic ingredients. The fundamentals nothing but basic key ingredients which are required to create this nice house. So same thing, today's chapter, the current chapter is describing what are the key basic ingredients to create this material universe. That's what in this verse, we have discussed so many verses in detail, how the ether sound was created, how the air was created, how the interaction was happening, and with the interaction, how different elements are created, like we have been seeing. But all these are key ingredients of this material universe. Now, next question is, I am doing my sadhana nicely. I do chanting, I do Mangalarti, I do Arti, I do many other services. I read Krishna book, I read Bhagavatam. I read doing all the things. I am doing my sadhana very nicely. Why I need to understand this? Of course, previously many speakers have explained the reason why we are studying, but we can discuss further in different dimensions, in different perspective. Why we need to read these chapters? Like, any guess? I think we must have heard from the previous speakers. Why we need to understand this material universe creation? Yes, that is know to the Krishna fully. Yes. Any other? Yes. Yeah, so all these answers are correct, but the simple answer is, yes, Prabhu, you are saying something. But yeah, get out of this material. Yeah, that's true. So the simple answer is, we are trying to understand the material universe, why this is created, because we are living in this material creation world, right? Since we are living in this material world, it's our, I don't say it's a responsibility, it's good to know what is this. We are living in a place. Whenever, suppose you moved into a new house, before going into the house, you will see the house, like if the agent is you're renting, the agent will do all the checks. Okay, how the house is there before you go entered into the house, right? Then what he does, well, then it's your responsibility to see that house is properly there. Your doors are proper. Your walls, coloring is, painting is done, is there properly. As you continue living in this, you need to monitor all these things. Your house, right? So you need to see whether house is maintained properly, all the doors are there properly, all the windows are there properly. If you have a backyard, you need to maintain everything. In between, he will come and check. Every 6 months, he will come and do the inspection. And you need to see, you need to maintain that it is maintained, the house is taken care properly. So when you are living in that house, it's your responsibility. If you take care nicely, you will not have any issues. But if you don't bother about how the house is maintained, what will happen? When you are vacating the house, you will have all the problems. All your deposits will be taken to fix all the issues, whatever happened, right? This is one analogy we can see. And the next analogy we can see this, like you moved from another suburb. You are living in Camry and you moved into the different suburb, like Neutral Bay or Willow Bay something, right? When you move into the new suburb, what you will do first? Okay, in a day-to-day ways, you don't need all those details. So you find where is the medical center, what is the address, what is the point of contact, who is the best GP there, whom I can contact in case of emergency, and you will find all those details. And you also see what is the nearby library. If I have a kids, you need to find out all the local schools, where is the primary school address, how the school is graded, like all the things you will find out. Though, and if you see the nearby shops where you can go to get the groceries, where is the Woolworth, where is the Coles, Target. See, you need to understand your locality when you are living in this world, even though it is not required on a day-to-day basis. Everything is not required on a day-to-day basis. But if you have an understanding on these things, your life will be easy. You can live happily. In case of any emergency, you will have all the details, right? So when you have all the details, your life will be easy. So when you live in the house, when you are moving into the suburb, you need to know the details. Then that will make your life easily. Then you can live happily, right? Same thing, we can understand that we are living in this material world, and the material there are key in this chapter is claiming the key ingredients of the material world, like earth, water, fire, air, ether, and the Mahatattva, false ego. This is what it is classified in this verse, the overall all the elements. So how these elements impacts you, how your consciousness will change because of these elements, how your behavior will impact because of these elements, right? When you do all these things, like how you behave, when you behave, sometimes you will get frustration, sometimes you will get angry. In this situation, suppose you are trying to talk to other devotees, you may not behave properly, right? All these things will come, it will impact all these material elements. These are the material elements. We are living in this world, which is made up of some material elements, and how these material elements are impacting you. That if you understand this, then you will take care, your activities, your actions, your everything will be taken care properly. So you will have a proper understanding. You know that this element can cause me like this. So when you are talking to someone, you will be very careful. Even if you get angry, you get frustration, or you will try to control, you behave nicely. So this is how you behave and interact with each other. How your behavior, how your consciousness, how you work, all these things will be impacting because of these material elements in which you are living in, right? That is the reason it's not mandatory, but when you understand this, you will be able to progress in your bhakti smoothly. Another example, you can say you have a car. You can drive, when you want to drive the car, you need to get the driver's license. You need to learn driving the car and get the license. You can drive. But it's not compulsory that you need to understand how to repair the car, right? It's not compulsory. Suppose you are going on a drive, suddenly something flashing red light or something coming on the dashboard. You don't know what it is. Then what will happen? You will stop the vehicle, you will call roadside assistance, and you will wait. Sometimes they will be in a long weekend, if in a holidays time, it will be you have to wait for 3-4 hours on the road because they will be busy attending many other calls. You will wait until they come. If the tire is punctured, you have a spare tire, but you don't know how to fix it. You have a tools, you don't have any understanding because it's not compulsory. When you learn the car, you only learn how to drive, but you don't know the underlying repairs, right? So you have the spare tire, you have the tools, but you don't know how to repair. Then what you have to wait until the roadside assistance come and then. But if you know the high level understanding of the repair, how to do the repairs, like if you know how to basic things like how to take the spare tire and remove the existing tire and if you know that, you can fix it easily. Your time will be saved. Same way, all these concepts, whatever the Kapila Muni is explaining, this is more technical. That's why I'm taking some material analogies that will give you a proper understanding why this is important, this topic is important. Even though we can do all our sadhana nicely, but how our sadhana is impacting, how our services are impacting, we can analyze. Whenever we see that you are not doing the service properly, you can understand that what is your consciousness, why your consciousness is like that. So in a nutshell, it helps in you progressing your bhakti. So that is the reason we have to understand these topics. Though it is technical, we do our sadhana nicely, but it is good to know all this understanding so that you will be able to progress in your bhakti nicely. Now, so in this verse it was mentioned the total 7 divisions. So what are the total material ingredients? Whatever we discussed in previously, like if you remember previously, first Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mahavishnu is glancing the pradhana, and then initially the kala, karma, and all the time will be impregnated along with the jivas, and then as the time progresses, Mahatattva will be formed in goodness, and then later Ahankara develops when it is in ignorant state, and Ahankara interacts with goodness. It produces mind. Ahankara interacts with passion. It produces intelligence. Ahankara with ignorance. It produces all the sense objects and 5 material elements, right? So Ahankara is in the top. When it is Ahankara state, in the false ego state, all these elements are created. Now, we can understand, so how the Ahankara is playing key role in creating these elements. We can, all these material, like the mind, intelligence, all the material elements, everything, underlying base is Ahankara, the false ego, right? That is the key element. Like in a few weeks back, I think Rajanath Prabhu and yesterday Adipurush Prabhu was also explaining this thing. It's like your sandwich or pizza is there, base, all these material elements are like a base. The pradhana is the false ego is the base. All other elements are base. On top of that, you are making your nice pizza, nice sandwich, right? The same, the pradhana is underlying, the false ego is the underlying base. On top of this, all the material elements are created. Example is like, so that's why we can understand the important impact of this false ego in our senses. Like if you say make any food item, you will use various elements, various ingredients, like you get salt, you get chili, or you can take another vegetables, everything you mix it. But if you put more salt, what will happen? The complete food item will be salty, right? Same thing, if you put a sweet more, then complete food item will be sweet. If you put more chili, it will be spicy, right? Same thing, in the pradhana is the predominant activity. Under pradhana, not pradhana, under false ego is the main thing. Under false ego, interacting with the different, when it is in goodness, when it is in passion, it is different elements. So, false ego is the key element. So, the material mind, which is produced based on the interaction with the modes, and false ego. So, false ego is the base, from there mind is coming, false ego is the base, from intelligence is coming, false ego is base, under the different elements are coming. What will happen obviously? Your mind, your sense, intelligence, your senses will have all impacted with a false ego, right? So all the senses will be having this false ego. So that's why this is the important. We need to understand why we are, our sense, by default, all our senses will be having this false ego. Now we hear many times, false ego, right? What exactly false ego? So we heard Bhagavad Gita about false ego is meant like if you see the true dictionary meaning, it's like inflated feeling of pride in your superiority to others. Like You are superior, like in a nutshell, you feel superior than other living beings. But same thing, actually the opposite to false ego. We are having the ego. But in bhakti context, what is our ego? Our ego is, we are servant of Krishna. We are the servant of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Our aim is to do the service and please the Lord. That is our ego. When you have this consciousness, then only you will enter into the kingdom, Supreme Personality of abode. We need to develop this consciousness, then you will be able to enter into the abode of Supreme Personality. Then you will be able to serve Him nicely. So this consciousness is important. That is the ego. Now, why we came into the material world? We are having the desire to enjoy this material world. Just momentarily we got a desire, then we came into this. See, because when you are in the spiritual world, your consciousness is serving nature, right? Even though you got a desire to enjoy little bit, but just you got a thought, but you cannot enjoy because your consciousness is always in the serving mode. So that's why Krishna created this separate material world. And now you can't enter into the material with the consciousness of ego, like, oh, you want to serve, but you want the ego. The requirement here is why the material world is created. You have to enjoy, right? Your consciousness from serving to has to be transformed into serving to I have to enjoy, right? That transformation has to happen. So to get into this transformation, this ahankara is playing important role, right? You need to, the spiritual world, you are having the mood to serve, but you got a desire. Now that your consciousness has to change it into I have to enjoy, right? That consciousness, how? Since, like suppose you are in your house, you are some elderly grandparents, everyone is there. In that, when you are there, how you behave? You behave very nicely, obediently. But if you want to do any naughty things, you will move away from there. You go to your age group people and you will do all naughty things, right? Same thing here. You are there with Krishna, your attitude was servitor attitude, right? Now you can't do all enjoyments in front of Krishna. There is no chance. So what Krishna said, okay, you go away from here, you go that place and you enjoy. So he created material world. Now he has to change your consciousness, right? That you should have the consciousness to enjoy. That's where all the elements were created. These elements will change your consciousness to serving to I have to enjoy. I am the enjoyer. This is my body. I have to enjoy. All the activities I do is for my enjoyment. This is how the transformation is happening. How these material elements are entangled, making you to come into this material existence and enjoy. So this is out of the false ego, how it is impacted. That's why on this false ego, ahankara is the key element which is binding you to this material world. Now all in order to, when we are doing the bhakti, we are purifying our senses, means we are trying to come out of this false ego and all these modes. Under the false ego, we have the three material modes, all the modes are acting. So we are trying to come out of this false ego and the material modes so that we will get into the pure consciousness. Then again we go back to Krishna and serve. So that is the process. Now, what will happen in this, if you see that when all these elements were unmixed, Supreme Personality of Godhead, the origin of creation, along with the time, work and qualities of modes of material nature, entered into the universe with a total energy in 7 divisions, right? From here, now the Supreme Personality of God is entering, after creating all the elements, Mahavishnu created, then the next one is Garbhodakashaya Vishnu is entering into the each universe. What will happen after entering into the each universe? That we can discuss. So if you see that 3rd canto, 8th chapter, this was created. How the Brahma and the Garbhodakashaya Vishnu entered into the material universe. What are all things happening after entering into the material world? That is. So we've briefly discussed that. So when he enters into the universe, each universe, so till now Mahavishnu created all the elements. Now with all those, taking all those elements, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu entered into the universe. Then when he entered into the universe, it is empty. So he will fill off of this universe with his perspiration to he fill it. On this one, on the Ananta Shesha, he will be lying on this water. Now, he will continue doing this. He will be in a sleepy state, slumber state, but with the internal potency. So no external energy acting on him. He will be lying on this Ananta Shesha on the water. And then he will be lying like that for 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas. Right? That is what the duration he will be lying on this water on the Ananta Shesha. Now, meanwhile, all the material ingredients are there. Like when Vishnu entered into the Garbhodakasha, he is not coming alone, right? As per this verse, he is taking all these material elements created before entering into. So, he is coming with all those material elements. So, and as the time passes, all the living entities who are in the subtle state, when the previous annihilation happens, everything entered into the Vishnu's, right? So, all these living entities, they are now that as the time passes, their desire to perform fruitive activities are getting developed. So now, as the time passes, now the living entities are getting ready to come into the material world and do their material activities. So after some time, from the abdomen of Vishnu, the bud of a lotus flower comes. The bud, it will represent all the fruitive desires of this material, the living beings. So that is coming from the navel of Vishnu. And on the top of this, the Lord Brahma, then the lotus flower. On top of this lotus flower, the Brahma will be, the first living being will be coming into the existence. From the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, it is. From the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, the bud, flower of the lotus, bud of the lotus flower comes, and then on the top of the lotus flower, the Brahma will be, he is the first person coming into the existence into this material world. So in our case, I think it's same, this activity happens for each universe. When he exhales, so many universes coming from the Mahavishnu pores, right? So each universe, this activity happens. In some cases we hear only Chaturmukha Brahma will be. In some cases Brahma will have more. Depending on the different universe size, different things will, Brahmas will be there. And this lotus flower, when the annihilation happens, again it dissolves into the Mahavishnu. But whenever creation starts, again from the abdomen, it will come out. So that is one. Yeah, for each universe, one Garbhodakashayi Vishnu will be there. Like if you see, there's so much requirement in the material, in the spiritual world. So many, like whenever universe is created, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu enters, and Kshirodakashayi Vishnu enters. And each day of Brahma, you will have different Manus. Manu, for Manvantara, for each Manvantara, Vishnu, personality of Godhead will be incarnated as Manu, Manvantara Avatara, right? There are different incarnations. So, there are so many incarnations of Vishnu and there, and the different demigods requirement is there. Like in our material world, we struggle so many things. Like if the market is not good, so many people worry about the jobs, right? But in the spiritual world, and it is it is not like that. You will have plenty of opportunities. Always, so many requirements for different demigods, different living entities. You will have plenty of many things will be there. You can have so many requirements. So, but unlike material in my world, spiritual world is always. If you see the size of the spiritual world in the cosmic manifestation, this is Ekapada Vibhuti. 1/4 is, 1/3, only one part is material creation, and 3/4 is spiritual world. So, even though we are thinking that so much population in this world, material universe, in the current one, but we think it is so huge. But if when you see the spiritual world, it is much, much bigger than, it's 3 times bigger than our material universe. So, that is, we can understand briefly. But when Brahma came out of this lotus flower, he started looking, he circumambulated complete space, and he is thinking where I am, and he is trying to understand why I came here, who created this lotus flower. All the things were coming in his mind, and what he is trying to speculate. He is trying to, on his own ability, he is trying to speculate. See, this is how Brahma started beginning. On his own, once he came out of the lotus flower, he started thinking. On his own, he is trying to speculate where I am, how I came here. Oh, and he started looking the lotus flower and the stem, where it is going, where is the origin. On his own, he is trying to speculate. So Brahma started this activity. In this material world, still many people are following his footsteps, trying to speculate on his own. But one thing is, Brahma realized his mistake later, but in our material world, still people don't follow the bhakti. Like when we are trying to understand the absolute, the ultimate question of Devahuti was, she wanted to understand Tattvata, in absolute truth, in all form, Vishnu, in the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Tattvata, means in absolute, he was trying to understand the absolute truth. The absolute truth in three forms, Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan, right? So Brahma level you can understand through speculation and the knowledge. But Bhagavan feature, you cannot understand through any speculation or anything. Like, you only need to know through bhakti only, you will understand the personality, Bhagavan nature properly and fully. Right? But in this case, Brahma initially, he was not able to, he was just speculating. He's trying to see why I am here, who created me, and that lotus flower is saying, where is the root? He's trying to speculate. Like that, he spent so much time. I think it was 1 millennium he spent something. Somewhere it is mentioned in the purport. And then, what he did, not only that, after that he saw the water down. So through the stem of the lotus flower, he went underneath. He went into the navel, close to the navel of the Vishnu, but he couldn't understand anything. Then again he came back. So he was keep on trying on his own ability. This is where Prabhupada was using the purports, the comment, right? This is what we are trying to do. We in the material world also, we are trying to depend on our own energy, our ability to understand Krishna. But it's not possible practically with your own ability. Only when Krishna's energy blessings, Krishna's mercy is there, then only you will be able to. See, Brahma went close to his navel, Supreme Garbhodakashaya's navel, from where the lotus flower came. But still, he couldn't understand the reason for his existence. Then he came back on top. Then he fixed his mind, he started meditating. After 100 years he performed this meditation, then he understood what is the cause of all these things. He understood Supreme Personality of God, it is the cause of all this creation. And then he started, a realization came. Now, we understand this, like if you see, the devotional service is important. Even same thing in yesterday's Adipurush Prabhu also, like Brahma got the knowledge through heart-to-heart communication. Heart. Supreme Personality of God revealed through heart to the Brahma's heart. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaya, right? So the Brahma got this knowledge through his heart. When? After doing devotional service. Only after the speculation he didn't get any result. Only after doing the devotional service only he got this knowledge through his heart. And see, like in the Chatusloki Bhagavad Gita also, it is clearly mentioned. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogantam yena mam upayantite. Buddhi yogam dadami buddhi. I will give you the intelligence when, if you perform devotion, then only he will give. You fix your mind on Supreme Lord, you perform devotion, then only he will give the knowledge so that he can understand. Same thing we can see in the Brahma's case. On his own, he was not able to understand. But when he started meditating on Krishna, then he was able to get the knowledge. Like that, see, we can also, in our material condition, like Brahma got the Vishnu, for Brahma, Vishnu directly informed. In case of Arjuna, Krishna directly spoke Bhagavad Gita. But that is happening. But in our case, what is the medium? Our spiritual master is the representative of Krishna. Krishna is giving the knowledge through our spiritual master. So, we need to perform the devotion, we continue the devotion, then our spiritual master will be, whenever he, tadvidi pranipatena pranipasnena sevaya upadekshayantite jnanam jnanina tattvadarshana. When you do your spiritual master, when Krishna, spiritual master is satisfied, he will give you the knowledge. Through that knowledge, you will progress in bhakti. So, this is the one learning we can take from the Brahma's experience. In this case, so the devotion is the key thing. So, with the clear devotion only, we can understand Krishna. Now, after 100 years of tapasya, he understood the reason for Krishna is the cause of Kalki. Then, he gave the Brahma Samhita. Right? So, we all know the Brahma Samhita. We recite Govinda Madhipurusham every day. So, with that knowledge, he created Brahma Samhita. And after that, after this meditation, everything, when he realized that Krishna is, then within the heart, he was starting feeling the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not only that, when he looked down, he was able to see the Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, lying on that Ananta Shesha, bright effulgence he could see. Before that, before doing that the meditation, devotion, he was not able to see any of these things. But after tapasya, 100 years of tapasya, then he started looking. He was able to see Vishnu within, and he was able to Garbhodakshaya Vishnu lying down in the water. is able to see. So this is what happened. So in this verse, it is mentioning Vishnu entered into the Garbhodakashayi, Vishnu entered into the universe. But after entering into the universe, what happened? Just briefly we touched. These all details were there in the Radkanto 8th chapter. What happened when Garbhodakashayi Vishnu entered into the universe? All these things. So I briefly summarized from that chapter. So this is what I wanted to convey from today's words. Any comments? Any? Air, ether. Yes. Yeah. No. See, once you fall into the material creation, the Brahma is doing only material creation. The desire is your free will. The desire is coming because of your free will. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See, Prabhu, actually, that cycle. Yeah, so because, initially he will be Brahma, the Indra, Brahma, then gradually you will fall down and you will going down and down. That is the evolution. That's what I understand from this. You will be Brahma and then Indra, and then you do take all the degrading to lower level species. And then again evolution comes when you get human birth. This is the opportunity where you will be getting the chance to perform devotion and go back to Godhead. Yes, Prabhu. No, Prabhu, I think as per my understanding, right, Prabhu, human form is you will go to the different evolutions. See, from the lower species to get a human form, you will come automatically. That is evolution. But after getting into the human form, that is the key thing. What karma you do. We are following the bhakti path, or you are doing the material activities. That decides your next birth destination. Up to human birth, the evolution comes one after that. Suppose you started with aquatic, then what is the next stage? You will take the next birth, that next species. Then from there you will take, suppose any other animal is there, you will take the birth as per the evolution. Whatever is next, it's predefined. But once you come into the birth, human form, that is where you have the choice, you have a free will, you have the intelligence to understand. In all the lower cases, there is no intelligence involved in it. That's why it's a automatic thing. You finish that birth, you will get into the next species. But once you get into the human form, that is where you have the intelligence, you have the free will, and from there you decide where you want to go. Either go to the abode of Krishna, you want to put effort toward, or you want to enjoy. That is the... Yes. Yes, whatever we did, the Kapila Muni explained from all this, right? All how the material elements created. Like I explained, right? The Pradhana to Mahatatva to various elements, mind, intelligence, all these elements, like that's what. Yeah, all the ingredients, yeah. Yes, all those elements. Like if you see, here the categorization is 7, but if you see, when first time when Mahavishnu glancing, the Mahatattva, here just one word Mahatattva is used, right? Mahatattva, it includes all the living entities impregnated, Kala, Karma, everything. That's what it's mentioned in the translation as well. But the broad classification as a 7, but that Mahatattva includes more elements. which we discussed in the previous verses. Right. Right. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय।